يا أهلا وسهلا بأفخم متابعين ومستمعين بالعالم، تحياتنا لكم. اليوم إحنا متواجدين في إيطاليا في ضواحي مدينة ميلان، تحديدا ببالوكا. هاي المنطقة فيها جراوند تيستينج كتير كبير، فيها حلبة كتير كبيرة، فيها R&D سنتر كتير كبير لمجموعة ستيلانتس. إحنا اليوم بضيافة واضح من السيارات الموجودين خلفي شركة الفا روميو، وضيفنا اليوم رح يكون بحلقة دردشة بزنس مدير العمليات التشغيلي لألفا روميو خارج أوروبا. يعني هو المسؤول عن أسواقنا، عن أسواق الأمريكا، عن أسواق آسيا وكل الأسواق العالمية إلا القارة الأوروبية. رح يكون معي إن شاء الله اليوم بالحوار، طبعا هنتحاور معاه باللغة الإنجليزية، ورح يكون معي الكابتن عبد العزيز زميلنا والمقدم مع عرب جي تي. وأرحب فيك أستاذ أرنولد لوكلوك.
Bravo.
Did it good?
Excellent.
Correctly. So thank you very much for joining us
Thank you.
with our fans and followers and listeners on ArabGT Podcast channel. Thank you for the amazing experience that we had today, me and Captain
super
Aziz.
amazing.
Thank you.
And
Thanks
I think
for that. Thanks for coming.
he's already, you can see from
I've seen.
from the shirt and
Well done.
everything, you can have an insight around his life. You've been an Alfa Romeo owner for how long now?
6 years total and 4 years of ownership. So
Excellent.
Okay.
Welcome to the tribe.
thank you.
After the event today, we're here to witness the official first global ride and drive for the Tonali. It's an important segment in the global markets. It's the third official car from the rebirth of Alfa Romeo, if I want to put it this way. We want to hear more from you. You're the decision maker with this. You have all the insights. We want to understand more from you. Where does Alfa Romeo stand on an international level
Okay.
in 2023?
Sure. Thanks for this question. And again, thanks for joining us today. It's very important. And I think a part of the answer is also by your presence. It's also showing the importance. We clearly want to, with Alfa Romeo, to have a presence which is a worldwide presence and not only European one. So we are making the step in this sense, and we are now thinking to develop our brands, and it starts, of course, in 2023, to think of our brands to expand in all the markets which are out of Europe. So we have some major region, and one of this region are Middle East, and this is the reason why you are here today, and this is the reason why we want absolutely that your countries have the experience and the possibility for our customers to buy the new Tonale and to buy the new Giulia and the new Stelvio. So there is really the ambition for us to be global.
When we say Alfa Romeo on a global scale,
Sure.
what's like 3 top competitors that you believe you're aiming to tackle their sales, or to make sure that your ranking is a step up on these three different competitors?
First of all, it's important to make sure that we are looking rightly so on each of the market, because of course each market is different in terms of presence of competitor. I would say in the scope, in the international scope, for sure you have the 3 German established premium. And for instance, in terms of pricing, positioning, and so on, we are very much looking at this German. But there is also some other competitors, and we are also looking at every single competitor who is today on the podium. It can be in terms of the value where it's positioned, the brand. It can be also in terms of quality of the experience that they are providing, because whatever the subject, we want to tackle the premium competitor, which is the bench into the subject. So if the subject is about the quality and the customer experience, we will try to tackle and to beat and to have the bench of the best in class in each of the countries. So we are really taking the basket of premiums.
It's very important thing you are saying, the quality, because throughout the last, let's say, 2 years, we have noticed a huge step towards quality in terms of usage, in terms of customers. So what was the secret?
As I said, our statement, our ambition is to be the global premium brand. So when you have global premium brands, you mean that you need to provide to the customers the reliability in terms of providing a premium experience. So quality of product, and it's what we are working. I would say there is no magic science. We need to be very much connected with the guys who are building the car every single day. And it's what we are doing. We are very much connected between the brands and the plant with providing our cars. That's the first point. The second point, of course, is about the customer satisfaction, the quality of service. And here the work is to make sure that our network distribution, our importer when we have importer, understand where we want to go in terms of value of the brand, in terms of premiumness, and they are applying this premiumness everywhere. Can be about the new corporate identity that we are doing, can be about the relationship that you have, and we see that already on some markets, we are becoming the top one in terms of customer satisfaction, which is a very good sign for us to continue to progress.
Absolutely, and it shows on the road, especially in the Middle East, where we have increased amount of sales in Alfa Romeo in the last year. So we can easily now see the cars at least moving, which is very good for us who loves the brand.
Thank you.
When we were discussing the international markets,
Sure.
And you've mentioned ranked number one, and can you be specified like which markets we are talking about exactly?
In terms of presence, you mean?
In terms of presence.
But you have, well, first you have the basket of the European brands where we are, let's say, quite established, still progress, but quite established. If I take last year, we are doing 80% of this business in Europe. So 20% of the business out of Europe. The main market for us out of Europe is North of America, US and Canada. But for sure, it's absolutely not the point for the development of the future. The development of the future is to continue to grow on this North of America, but of course to exploit also two other regions where I have definitely the ambition to expand and to strongly extend our business, which is in Asia Pacific, Japan, Australia, and in Middle East. And I would say, and for the two, three main market for Middle East are Turkey on one side and the GCC on the other side. So Emirates, Saudi Arabia are the first, I would say, in terms of Middle East.
Okay. And when it comes to the international markets,
Sure.
I understand that in certain markets, Alfa Romeo will be faced with a little bit of difficulties, since specifically in GCC, for most of us, it's a new brand. I understand it's a very old brand in Europe, but I think there is a similarity between GCC market and the North American market, because Alfa Romeo also considerably, it's considered as a young brand compared to Europe. Is it something that you guys are really looking forward to and trying to put your stamp there, or Alfa Romeo is insisting to keep its roots and going back to the heritage, and that this will be part of our DNA, that we will never give it away?
There is and again, very, very excellent question, because you're right. The level of maturity and establishment of the brand in each of the countries is absolutely not at the same level. And we need to really to take this on board. But there are many, many aspects where you can work on. First of all, whatever the country, whatever the number of years that we have been there, there is something which never change. We are a brand which has started in 1910. So we have this history. We have this DNA. Again, whatever the country where you are, I mean, I'm seeing some countries where our presence is very new, but the number of Alfisti club, the fan of Alfa Romeo, we are talking about hundreds club in countries where we are just relaunching the brand. So it means that there is a gap today between the knowledge of the brand and the potential of the brand and today where we are in this country, which is great because it's something which is unique to us. So it's our DNA and no one can take it from us, from any other premium. So that's the first thing. So for sure we will leverage on this. Community. That's a big, big thing. The second, which is linked to community, is all our history. Since 1910, we have been with this DNA of Italianness and sportiness. And here I make the link with the Middle East country, the GCC. Whatever the numbers that we are doing today, one of the big things is the fact that we have the biggest weight of the sportiest version of Giulia and Stelvio in the world. You are the biggest seller, exactly, biggest seller in terms of mix of weight of Quadrifoglio, which is our signature of the most ultimate performance version, which is a big sign. It's a big sign of the understanding of the customers about what is Alfa Romeo. So here I would say it's the very good scenario. And then there is a third step, which is how we make this happen. It was your question. And here it's not only the product. We need to make sure that every single touch point with our customers, they understand. From the marketing activity to the customer journey in the network with the people who are, for us, interacting with the customers in the dealer network, with the import of the vehicle and so on. So it's where we are also working closely with them to say, okay, this is where we are with the brand in terms of knowledge. What do we need to step by step improve and touch point with more customers in terms of brand image, awareness, and again, goes through the quality of what we are delivering.
Definitely, definitely. And this is a very important aspect, speaking about the relationship between the brand and how the customer love the brands, but we need the connections. So in Saudi Arabia, at least, we are facing some of the difficulties, let's say, in a transition mode, which is normal to expect, but we want to hear from you the real plans to fix a lot of struggles and tackles that we are facing in daily basis, so we can move towards even a better community where everybody is more satisfied with their products.
You're right. And this is exactly I would say, not the starting point, but this is the point where we are. We are in a relationship in Saudi Arabia with an importer which is called Petromin. And since I am in this new job, since the 1st of January, I've already met 3 times Petromin to make sure that we are really interacting and we are understanding each other in terms of what we provide to the customer, especially in the context of launching these fantastic cars. So I'm deeply convinced that there is a massive potential in Saudi Arabia. The market is very big, the premium market is existing, and there is this Alfisti Club. So we have everything in order to make sure that Alfa Romeo can expand. So the relationship with the importer is very important. It's very important. So we will leverage on this. So there is no point about this. We will leverage on the partnership that we have with our importer, which is Petromin. So we need to give them all the tools in order to have the right level. The second thing I would say, which is very interesting with Petromin, you know, it's a part of a big group, which includes also Electromin. And we didn't discuss yet about this, but there is a path to electrification for us. And we think that this, let's see how it evolves, but we think that this can be also interesting in terms of extending our partnership, considering what they have in their own basket of capacity and basket of providing to the customers in terms of electrification. Can fit also with our own strategy.
Agreed.
With the relationship with the dealers in GCC, you've mentioned Emirates and you've mentioned Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
What about the rest of the GCC?
So for sure we are.
What's the status now?
For sure we are present on the others, in Qatar, in Bahrain, and we are just finalizing now a new importer contract in Oman. So I think there is also quite a good potential in Oman. So as soon as we have the final name, I will disclose this for sure. But there is a potential also outside. It's true that in terms of big market, I would say between Emirates and Saudi Arabia are the biggest. But we want to be present everywhere. There is an opportunity to be in front of our customers for sure.
Amazing. My second question goes to the fleet of models. Nowadays with Alfa Romeo, the Stelvio, the Giulia, the Tonali. Tonali, based on what we had today, you've mentioned there will be no QV, quadrifolio trim.
Good point for the quadrifolio. First of all, as I told you, the quadrifolio, we are celebrating the 100 years of quadrifolio, and to celebrate properly this, we'll have the 100th anniversary, which is a limited edition, which will exist worldwide basis, 100 units in Giulia, 100 units in Stelvio, and GCC will get their own part. That's the first point. The second point is the fact that this allow us to tell to everywhere and to the world that quadrifolio is a signature that we will continue to run for the future. Means that every single new product that we are thinking of having also a quadrifolio. So there is no doubt that quadrifolio will remain part of us because it's part of our DNA, it's part of our positioning. Now to come back to your specific question about Tonale. Tonale is not launched with any quadrifolio today. Doesn't mean that there is not a project. But for us, we need to propose to our customers a quadrifolio only if it deserves to be named as a quadrifoglio in terms of performance, in terms of ultimate driving sensation, and so on and so forth. So we are thinking about on each single model of a quadrifoglio version. Today, we don't have it on Tonale. Doesn't mean that we'll not have it in tomorrow, but I would say stay tuned on this.
Other than the Tonale as a crossover segment, what would be the next move for Alfa Romeo?
So we have clearly we have the ambition to launch every year one single product. So we are not thinking about short term first. We are thinking about the next 10 years. Because if you want to build a premium brand and we want to be credible in terms of premiumness, you need to think long term. It's really a customer journey, and it's really more respectful, I would say, for our customers. That's the first point. Inside the 10 years plan, we have already locked, financed, approved by the group which is supporting Alfa Romeo, the next 5 years plan, which is a great, very good for us, and it's a really very important also. Now, inside of this, we are going to have, starting from next year, our new B SUV, which will complement the range that we have with Stelvio DUV, Giulia or D sedan, Tonale CUV, and then a B SUV, which will be launched next year, which will be both mild hybrid and fully BEV. Means that it will be our first product which will be fully electrified.
Mm-hmm. If I may to ask, because this is very important for Alfesti, the move from internal combustion engine to electrification, especially with the brand that has something like the Quattrofoglio. Every Alfesti, is deep mad about these brands. So how do you see it? How do you explain it?
Yes, I understand your point, and I understand the question behind, for sure. First of all, there is a clear strategy. So we'll not deviate from the strategy. We are the latest to enter into electrification, but we'll be the fastest. So means that we are commonly saying we go from zero to zero, from zero electrification to zero CO2. So we are part of a group of the Stellantis, and Stellantis, therefore, our plan is to go to zero neutral carbon by 2038, and we will contribute to this plan. Means that starting from 2025, every single new product will be BEV only. Right. Okay. Now we need to understand the maturity of each of the country. But what I can tell you is that everyone in the Alfa Romeo team will make sure that we develop products, despite BEV or non-BEV, which fits with our DNA, with the Italian sportiness. So for any Alfisti listening for us, there is no doubt that the BEV that we'll put on the market will fit with the sportiness. I can promise you.
That's a good promise.
With the relationship between Alfa Romeo and the group, the Stellantis group in overall, we've noticed like some similarity with using the platforms between Alfa Romeo and other brands like Dodge, the Hornet, I believe. They share the same platform. Is it something benefitable for Alfa Romeo more, or you feel like no, Alfa Romeo is contributing more to the Stellantis group, or it's a win-win?
Okay. First of all, Alfa Romeo being part of Stellantis is a fantastic opportunity. Let's make it clear. Why? Because it allows us to leverage on what a group which owns 14 brands can have in terms of technology, in terms of innovation, in terms of development of platform, in terms of sort of things.
Distribution network, dealers.
Distribution network, even if on distribution network we will be always very careful to have our unique customer experience, and we don't want to be diluted whatever the other brands, can be Stellantis or not Stellantis brands, by the way. Huh? So on the specific network, we have to make a unique premium customer experience. But in terms of product, back to the product, all the opportunity that we have is to make sure that we are leveraging of what can be, I would say, basic component and things like this, some of the platform sharing and so on, but to have always our uniqueness. If you take some of the details of the Tonale, of course I'm talking about the body of the Tonale, the design, but I'm talking also about some of the specific things like the driving sensation, the suspension. It can be the DNA, which is unique to us, which will remain unique to us. So what is important is to keep the brand, what are the brand's components, and to avoid to be diluted in something else, which is absolutely not the point with Stellantis. So for us, it's a huge benefit, for sure, to make sure that we expand our business.
And as a group, they don't interfere with this vision?
No, I would say that with Carlos Tavares as the CEO of Stellantis, it's exactly the opposite. He has always been very transparent and very clear on this. He considered that each of the brands has a fantastic own unique value. And the purpose is exactly this, how we emphasize the brand identity for each of them to speak to our own customers. That's exactly the opposite. So it's really, for us, it's a fantastic.
Where do you rank Alfa Romeo within Stellantis group? Like if we look at the whole group itself, like we can start with Fiat, with certain brand. I don't want to, like it goes up to Peugeot and it can goes up all the way to Maserati or Jeep.
So first of all, I wouldn't put any ranking. Because there is no good ranking or bad ranking.
No, the ranking, it might be targeted only. Volkswagen, like they don't say like Bentley is something.
I got your point. But so what we have said from day one is that we have put the brand in front of where we want to compete with this brand. Do we want to compete in the mainstream market? Do we want to compete in the premium market? Do we want to compete in the upper mainstream, what we call the upper mainstream, or even the luxury market? So inside Stellantis Group, we have defined some brands which are made to be mainstream. You were speaking about Fiat, or it could be even Citroën and so on. They are in this part of the group. Then there are some upper mainstream like Peugeot and Opel. There is some brands which are meant to be global. And Jeep, for instance, is the best example of the global SUV American brand. And there is, inside Stellantis, 3 premium brands. The first one is, or first or second or third, but let's say DS Automobile, Lancia, and Alfa Romeo. Each of them have a specific positioning and a specific customer profile that they want to target. Lancia is today based in Italy. It's an Italian brand with an absolutely strong history also, which is today based on Italy, and we just announced that they are going to expand out of Italy with a new business model and so on. So Lancia is one. DS Automobile created, if I'm not wrong, if I remember well, 2014, the Excellence Savoir-Faire à la Française, which is also present in Europe and some other regions, like for instance China, and Alfa Romeo, which I said our DNA is red, Italianness, and sportivity. So when you say these 3 words, you see clearly that we are not competing each other. I would say the opposite. We are absolutely speaking between ourselves to make sure that we are talking to a different customers and we are talking to a different type of market. And then you have another brand, which is the luxury one. You were speaking about Maserati. Maserati is in this luxury cluster in order to compete with competitors of luxury brands.
Thank you very much for your time for the day. Thank you very much again for the lovely experience that we had today here in Baloka in nearby Milan. And we are looking forward to drive more QVs in our region since it's one of the best sellings. And we wish you guys at Alfa Romeo the best of luck in the coming future products. And we're really excited to meet you, I think annually, since there is a new model coming every year.
It would be absolutely a great pleasure to have this sort of meeting to express to you exactly where we are in terms of development of the brand and how we can even better match your markets. So it would be an absolute pleasure.
Perfect. عبد العزيز في عندك أي مداخلة؟
It's a rich history. We were very honest and happy to see some of it yesterday at the museum. I think it was sensational to link between that history and the modern cars. This is something very difficult to do, by the way. So hats off for the team. And hopefully we will see a great success for Alfa Romeo and GCC, inshallah. Thanks for the insights.
Thanks for your time, inshallah. Thank you.
متابعين عرب جي تي، متابعين قناة عرب جي تي بودكاست، سامحونا عن أي إزعاجات صارت، ولكن إحنا بمكان مفتوح وعام. لا تنسوا تشتركوا بقناة عرب جي تي بودكاست، مهم جدا. وخبرونا إذا حبيتوا هذا المحتوى، نستضيف كمان مدراء ثانيين ونعطيكم من خلف الكواليس لعالم صناعة السيارات معلومات أكثر. خبرونا بخانة التعليقات، وإذا عندكم أي أسئلة أو أي نقاش عن شركة الفا روميو اكتبوها تحت بخانة التعليقات، وثقوا فينا ثقة عمياء، كل إدارة الفا روميو الشرق الأوسط رح تقرأ كل تعليقاتكم. أي ملاحظات عندكم على البراند، على البرودكت اللي صارت، أي شيء اكتبوه بخانة التعليقات بالأسفل، وإن شاء الله كلهم رح يتابعوا الفيديو هذا على المضمون. شكرا لكم، شكرا لمشاهدتكم، نلقاكم قريبا، السلام عليكم. Ciao in Italy and
Ciao, au revoir.
Au revoir.